Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show Live. We'll call it that. Today we're going to be playing around with ChatGPT if the servers will allow us, if it's not at capacity. Welcome. Thanks to all the folks that are in the chat that are watching live. And if you're watching the replay, that's great too. You could leave a comment that helps the video out algorithmically. So let me know if you could hear me. I think you probably can. We're rolling the theme music here. And that is from my podcast. I actually have a podcast where I talk about affiliate marketing and SEO and some other random stuff. There's a link in the description. It's called Affiliate Marketing and Side Hustles, but it really is called The Doug Show. It's over at doug.show, which is a cool URL. So, yeah, we're going to talk ChatGPT. We're going to play around with it. And for the longtime viewers, the longtime readers of NicheIQ Project, even up until I would say 3 weeks ago, if you asked me about ChatGPT, I would say, I don't know, we'll see how it is. But now I get it. And I've been publishing a couple videos, a couple YouTube shorts, another thing that I'm now interested in with ChatGPT. And the thing is, in the past, I guess, falling into the trap of like trying to get long form content, long blog posts from AI tools. And it was disappointing. However, now I'm thinking about it differently. I'm thinking about how I personally can use these tools to help me do things faster or better or easier. And I've come up with some pretty decent things. So, there's a couple videos you could check out on the channel. I think I have like 7 ways to use ChatGPT for blogging. And there's only one of them that's actually like writing part of the blog post. And the other 6 are completely different. I have a video, I will probably publish it later today, where I do go through the exercise of writing a full blog post using ChatGPT. Now, if ChatGPT is full today and we're unable to get output, then we'll go to potentially 2 other places. So this is a little tip for you are if you're having trouble using ChatGPT because the servers are full, then you can go to Jasper Chat, which is paid. You could also go to the playground area in OpenAI. There's a chat. It's still I think it's GPT-3, the current live version. You could use DaVinci 3, I think is what the chat is. I could show you over there in a second. But basically, it'll be a less sophisticated version of ChatGPT. And we can see Bedane says, you can hear me. Great. Thank you. And on travel mode says, you're converted. And the thing is, I was waiting, and I was hoping like the AI tools were going to be useful. And I knew at some point they would. And I wasn't able to figure out how to use the tools for me in a way that was effective, ethical, right? Part of the issue is the tools are trained on some sets of data, and you may or may not be like really, I mean, if you're just using the tool to come up with your ideas and then write it, then, what value are you really adding? So it's just like trying to figure out how to use the tools in a way that was useful for me. And then as I figured that out, I started realizing the possibilities. And, an upcoming video, which I actually haven't shot it yet, but maybe I'll do that today, is using a tool like ChatGPT or Jasper Chat to help you out with like project management tasks. So I have a PMP certification, project management professional. And I could come up with templates, like I could do some project management things, but if you don't have that skill set, then maybe you could save a lot of time by using a tool that has a ton of information. Now you could go, get templates at places, right? I remember buying, sets of templates for certain projects in the past. There's repositories, and if, when I worked at a big company, they had, here's all the templates that you use for a project, start to finish, from system requirements to testing to documents that you send to the business, and tons of stuff, dozens of templates, and you don't have to use them all, but they're out there. And basically, if you don't know how to do this stuff, then there's some learning curve, but you can, shortcut the situation and get 70-90% of the way good enough until you can customize the tool to do, what you need it to do. So this is awesome. A couple things I want to point out. We have a couple links in the description. So especially if you're watching the replay later, I have a free set of resources, AI resources. You could follow the link in the description. It's nichesiteproject.com/AI resources. Basically, it's a work in progress. It's free. It is free. You do have to give your name and email address because it's inside a course platform. So it just helps me manage things. And I put things in there that I don't put on YouTube. These might be prompts that I use. It might be longer form videos with more detail. And it's kind of, an organized set of notes. It's my own personal notes. Again, it's free. You can just go sign up. You have to enter your name and email so that you can get the login information. It's the first link in there. Next, shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Odys Global, the source for premium age domains, which I will roll a spot for them in a little while. I like to let my voice rest in the middle of this thing. Further, we have Ezoic, which I'm wearing one of their t-shirts now, Club 22. Ezoic is fantastic. They've been sponsoring these live streams for a long time. I want to point out NicheIQ, or NicheIQ, as the more sophisticated people might say. And it's a tool for niche sites made to help site owners find topics, manage their pages, specifically to grow quality visits and revenue from display ads, as built-in reporting and analytics, so you can measure the performance of your SEO efforts on the bottom line by understanding the relationship between ranking and the traffic, the positions, and actual revenue. And you can run experiments so that you can test titles, test descriptions in search results so that you can figure out what works best. And the great thing with Ezoic is there's no traffic minimum. So you can check out Access Now, and there's a link in the description. And thanks a lot to Ezoic. So we're going to get in and play with the tools in a few minutes here. We have Abdel Kabar says the mistake creators make is using a tool to write a full article, but all AI tools are created to help you organize and write an article by yourself with the help of AI. Cool. Yeah. And I think, part of it is people are lazy, The other thing is, early on, I remember when GPT was first released, people were very excited. And I think, a lot of folks were focusing on tweets specifically, so short form content. And I thought, that's kind of, a little bit interesting, but not super helpful for me. I don't really care about short form content in, tweets or anything like that. Like it's not something that I participate in. So it wasn't really going to help me out. And as time, went on, we heard of tools like Jasper, and maybe they could help you write like longer blog posts and stuff. But when I tried it, it just didn't deliver in the way that I was expecting. As time went on, Jasper, even from months ago, is much better than it was. And I am an affiliate there's actually affiliate links in the description here if you want to check out stuff that I use, but you can get a free trial for Jasper, which, does have a nice front and can sort of streamline certain pieces and make things easier for you. Um, that said, the Jasper chat, which rolled out, I think just a couple weeks ago, I think, to give people an alternative option inside Jasper to, use a chat style format, it's not bad. I actually did some comparisons like head to head ChatGPT along with Jasper chat to see how they would differ. And it was better than I thought. It actually surprised me. It was much better than I thought. So we'll hop in, and if people have any requests or anything, I can roll with that for what we're going to do. Otherwise, I'll just show you some of the stuff, some of the ideas that I've had to use ChatGPT. Daniel, what's going on? Good to see you. So let's start sharing the screen here. And we are in, so hopefully this is going to work for us. So one of the things that I've shown a couple times in videos is just getting keywords. So pretty effective generally, but you could say, I think let's figure a good topic area. So what are, we'll say 20 long tail keywords for a blog post in the, we'll say, camera niche, and I'll put like SLRs, and I'll leave it at that. So we'll ask for 20 long tail keywords here. So it takes a minute or so for the results to come through, but it's definitely typing much faster than me. And this is one of the observations I had. I just was chatting with Pete McPherson from Do You Even Blog, who has a great YouTube channel you should check out. And yeah, basically we get the keywords, but if I were to create an outline, if I were to just write an outline, like I know about these topics, really some of them, I could write an outline for it, but I type really slow. I type really slow. So just using ChatGPT to get an outline saves time. Even if it's not going to be 100%, I would want to add a few things to it, but it would be pretty good. So this is like kind of the simplest stuff. So from here, we got 20 long tail keywords. Then you could say, write a detailed outline about, or for a blog post about DSLR versus mirrorless cameras. So this will take a minute. We have Fred is on, what's going on, and Marky as well. So fingers crossed that we actually have the ChatGPT will work. But let's check out this other area. So while it's typing this out, we'll click back in a second. If you find that ChatGPT is full, you can hop over to the beta.openai.com in the playground area. So this does cost money, right? So typically, I don't know when you sign up or what happens exactly, but when you sign up and create an account, they do load your account with, I think, like $18. The thing is, OpenAI is way cheaper than the other tools. You pay for what you use, but it's like 10 times cheaper or more. I don't know the exchange rate. You pay for tokens, but basically tokens are like, let's see where the pricing is here. Can we see that? Pricing. So pricing here for the language models, DaVinci is the most powerful. So it's 2 cents for 1,000 tokens. And you can think of tokens as pieces of words, and 1,000 tokens is 750 words. So that means you can get 750 words for 2 cents. So that's the exchange rate that you're working with, which is pretty generous. So anyway, you can go over here and use the chat feature, right? There's some things, some templates in the playground that you can use. And we could actually just see what happens if we ask the same exact question. So it's kind of a comparison here between the playground and ChatGPT. So let's see what happens in the playground. I haven't done this before, and see how fast it is. It's actually much faster than it's funny. As for 20, they gave me 16. I think it ran out of the maximum length here. So I could actually like drag this and make it longer. We'll just make it like 2000. So that still gave us plenty of ideas, and we can do like the same thing. I don't know if this keyword popped up in the other one, but write a detailed outline for a blog post about DSLR versus mirrorless and go from there. So we'll let that roll. And when we pop over here, when we see the detailed outline for a blog post over on ChatGPT, pretty thorough. We get into the basics, image quality, autofocus, video capability, lenses, battery life, and the conclusion plus additional resources. Now I'm curious. We'll say like what images, or how about like, do you have image ideas that would work for this blog post? Can you provide, we'll say 5 ideas. And we'll see what happens. Okay, great. So I think I haven't played much with the image AI creators out there, but potentially you could get the ideas, feed those ideas into, I think Canva even has an AI image generator, but you could try to use this to create the images for you. So you have like custom images. So we have a pretty solid outline here. Let's check at the playground, the chat here. So we asked for a detailed outline. And what we notice here is we have the outline. There's not as much detail. So if we look at ChatGPT, we have sort of longer points, more like a sentence in here. And here it's really just shorter form. Now, this is something I haven't tried over here on the playground areas to try to get it to write a little bit more. So we could test it out. Now the thing is, if you try to get really long form content, you may run into an issue with ChatGPT. There's no limit from what I understand, but you could sort of give it guidelines and such. One thing you can do, and for the interest of time and space here, we can divide it up. So we can ask for like the introduction for this blog post. So write the intro. And we'll give it some more instruction like you are an expert. We'll say that you've been an expert for 10 years. And we'll say you're trying to help a beginner. Okay, so you're trying to help a beginner choose a camera. We'll say use humor and personal stories. we'll say to use humor and personal stories to build trust with the reader. So these are the kind of like details and prompts that I haven't added this one specifically, but that I'll put into the AI resources, which you could sign up for. Like I said, they're free. You just have to go give your name and email so that I can send you the login information. So, and let's pretend like we want this to be like a pretty long form article. So we'll say I want the intro to be, we'll make it kind of long. We'll say like 400 words. So we'll see how that works out. I haven't done this before where I'm doing the, playground chat, but I'm going to give it the same prompt. Now, like I said, the chat version using GPT-3 and DaVinci 3 shouldn't be as like robust as ChatGPT, but we'll see how it works out. So we'll submit it there. And Marky says, as we're getting the output here, do you know much about prompt engineering? I don't. I haven't heard that expression, so I don't know exactly what it means. Marky, can you give us more information? Does it just sound, or does it mean what it sounds like? Just creating and using prompts in a, with an engineering type mindset. So here we go. We have this content. So this is a pretty strong intro. Like I said, I wanted to have humor, personal stories. They do say, I've been a professional for 10 years. They are trying to use a personal story. They had to choose between a DSLR and mirrorless. And they do take us through, some personal anecdotes, asking for advice. So this is pretty good. I mean, it's all lies, of course, but it's a good place to start from. And if you didn't give a shit, you could publish this or, just pretend like it was you. Now, here's the thing. I don't think I put a link in the show notes here, but I'm gonna stop sharing just for a second. Originality AI is one of the tools that you could use to detect AI. So we'll hop over there. There's also content at scale that has an AI detector, which is free. And I'm going to double check. I think there might be a link for one or both of those. If not, I will add it in a second here so people can get to it. So to check plagiarism and AI content. Yep. So there's links in the description here for originality. You can check plagiarism and AI, and then the free AI detector is over at content at scale, and they're listed specifically in the description, so it's easy to tell those apart. So let me share our screen here again, and then we'll check to see if we can detect the AI in this close to 400 word introduction. So originality AI. Well, let's hop over here to the free one first. Okay. And we're going to check for AI. While it's working there, I'm going to make sure I log in over here at Originality, which I had an interview recently with the one of the founders over there. So now we have Originality, and we'll check for plagiarism and AI. The thing is, I've noticed the tools are usually able to detect the AI pretty readily. The plagiarism, usually there's no issue with plagiarism. I haven't had any. So I think, Chat GPT, other tools, they seem to do a pretty good job, like not lifting things verbatim and rephrasing. That said, I don't know if they're like giving the same output to like thousands of us. So maybe you would have to look out for that. So no plagiarism. The AI is listed as 100%. So we're not fooling anyone. Let's see what the other detector says. So content at scale, it says it's obviously AI. So we're not fooling anyone, but we did get some output. Now, over here on the chat side, this again, it's not quite as robust. It's not as long, I don't think, but I think we have something reasonable here to work with. So let's check to see over on the free AI detector, which we'll just stick to that one since probably most people are going to use the free detector. But originality, I would say if you're working with writers, then it's probably a really good idea to check, or even an agency to check with originality to make sure that they're not using AI, or at least it gives you some idea. Now, here's a shocker, right? So this is from OpenAI's Playground Chat, and content at scale, the AI detector does not detect it. It says it's 100% human. It says it looks great. It's a little bit shorter, so it's 269 words. So I wasn't going to check it with originality, but now let's check it out, and then we'll hop back to the chat in just a moment. So if you have questions or anything, feel free to ask. And originality, it's pretty quick. It only takes usually about 10 seconds or so. So here is a bit difference. It's staggering how so the content at scale says it's 100% human. The AI detection score says it's 94% AI over originality and no plagiarism detected. Again, usually not an issue with plagiarism, but it's a little bit different. 94% AI versus 100% human. So I've heard there's wildly varying scores if you check in different tools here. So let's hop back. Let's answer some questions. And Mark says that prompt engineering is how to construct prompts to get the best from AI. So I have been doing quite a bit of sort of research and testing in the last few days, and it has been interesting. And I'll tell a side story in a second here. It has been interesting in learning like a little piece here, a little piece there, and if you stack these ideas together, sometimes from like varying different industries, right? So I'm kind of focusing on the blogging and content creation area right now. But if you check out other industries and see how they're using it, that's where it gets pretty interesting. When you combine the different ideas plus your background, then you can end up with some pretty cool stuff. So your question, do I know much about prompt engineering? I didn't even know the term before. I suppose I am actually focusing on prompt engineering to get the best information from AI. And I'll tell this side story in a second. Brooks says, and Brooks just published his interview, so check out the interview if you haven't, and his channel as well. So Brooks says, you can't get on ChatGPT, and I'm hogging all the bandwidth. I've been trying to ask short questions. It kind of falls all over itself if you try to put too much. So Mindful Marketing says, Naveen says, this is great. There's just one thing here about how about duplicate content generated by the tools? I mean, if 10 people are writing about the same thing and it will be duplicate, will they rank in SEO? So I think that is an issue, right? We don't know if it's providing any sort of unique content or if it's just like using the same sort of algorithm and prediction model to provide the output. It makes sense to do that versus like having, a lot of randomness in the output. You could potentially end up with like weird stuff if you do have a lot of random sort of triggers or a random model, a model which generates more randomness so that it's more unique. So will it rank in SEO? I have no idea. That remains to be seen. I think that will be an issue, right? If people are using content that's very derivative from the original, and what's going to be the differentiator. And I think that's where this conversation leads. Like, if there's a low barrier to entry, if it's easy, fast, quick for people to set up, then a lot of people are going to do it. Google's going to have to figure out what to do with a bunch of sites that are roughly equal quality wise. Maybe they look sort of derivative of each other and it's not very original. Maybe they all have the same subheadings in there, for example. And then you end up in a situation where Google has to figure out which one's better. Are they looking at backlinks? Are they looking at the amount of sort of original content in the form of like rich media? So images, custom images, video. Are they looking at social traffic? Are they looking at something else? The thing is, I grabbed a transcript of one of my videos where I was just talking, put it into Originality, and I put it into Content at Scale, the free AI detector, and there was a high level of AI detected from my own words. So either I talk like a robot or I speak in a predictive way. So I don't know what to do with that. And then when I had ChatGPT rewrite the transcript into a blog post, it was, clearly AI. So, all right. Simon's on. What's up? Naveen says you have 10 niche sites and you're going to experiment on them. And Daniel says use ChatGPT to build it. And I don't know what that is in reference to. Use ChatGPT to build, I don't know, the best prompts, something. And Daniel does say Doug is AI. Yes, partially AI. So I'm gonna roll the ad spot for Odys, and thanks a lot to Odys for sponsoring. Let me take a little break here, and I'll be right back. Be sure to ask questions if you have any. Brought to you by Odys Global, the source for premium age domains. That's domains that mean business. Basically, these are domains that the webmaster no longer kept active for some reason or other, like they stopped their business or they just stopped blogging. And basically, there's often many links going to that domain already. So it kind of gives you a head start on the SEO. The featured domain for today is called Dividend Money. So we're taking a quick look over on the Ahrefs overview, and we see that the URL rating is 25 right here, and then the domain rating is 7. So a little bit lower on the domain rating, but turns out I think over on Moz, the domain authority is 29. So I've noticed this with some domains where basically if they don't have any fresh links or maybe they haven't gotten any links in a little while, then the domain rating goes down, but the domain authority stays pretty high. So the thing is, this domain has been around since 2006, and we're going to go look at the Wayback Machine in a second. It's a very brandable domain with dividend right in there, and it was a domain, and this he was a father. He was a person who had kids. So he was a father and he got out of debt in order to achieve financial independence. And he focused on dividend investing. They covered some broader financial topics like credit cards and getting points with credit cards, that sort of thing. And the thing is, finance is a very competitive industry and there's a lot of money in it. So we'll get to some of the monetization in a second. Real quick though, there's 113 do follow domains, and let's see here, it was quite a few referring domains overall. Organic traffic, there was actually some traffic all the way until the end of 2020 or so, and which is kind of interesting, but not a lot of traffic, but there was some traffic and it was ranking for a handful of terms. There were, something called the dividend growth formula, the lifetime lease plan, and dividend yields. It was ranking for those in the top 100. Now, let's take a quick look at some of the domains. We have Lifehack, we have The Street, Pro Blogger, Wisebread, actually a link from Mr. Money Mustache, one of my friends lives here in town, Fat Pitch Financials, and something Rat Race, I think. Maybe I'm combining words. Anyway, a lot of backlinks, a lot of good backlinks going to this site. Let's look at the Wayback Machine, and you can see it stretches all the way from 2006. Pretty old domain, 17 years old if I'm doing the math right. And let's take a look at a couple of these just snaps, these captures. So this is what websites used to look like way back in 2007. And then there's one from 2011. And one thing I want to point out, a lot of times when I look back at these domains that are older, they won't have these captures. For some reason, the sites were down or whatever. This one has a lot of them. Now, this one, the formatting got messed up. This is from 2016. So started to get into retirement and stuff like that. And then we're on to 2019, which is pretty cool. So more modern theme. And basically, you can monetize this with informational topics. You're probably going to have some ads that are financial based. So those are going to pay pretty high. It's a lucrative niche overall, very competitive, but quite lucrative. The other thing, you can focus on stock picking and some more speculative stuff, but I don't really recommend that. I mean, if you know me personally, like I don't want to speculate. Now, dividend investing is not my thing, but it is a route that people can take if they want to. And, it's valid. It may not have the same returns, the same growth, and all that stuff, but this is not financial advice or anything like that. So I would potentially focus on the lifestyle aspect. I would focus on financial independence, and I would focus on credit cards and reward points. So those are valuable to, whoever gets the credit card. You can earn commissions, or you can actually earn points for yourself if you refer people. And basically, it's a very lucrative industry. And I personally have friends that have blogs and they're earning tens of thousands of dollars per month via their recommendations to credit card companies. It's just a very lucrative industry. You could also, refer people to other maybe courses or digital products, whether it's a budgeting app or, some other platform where people are making trades or something like that. So it's something to look at. We have The Street, Science Blogs, Wisebread, Lifehack, Seeking Alpha. Those are all links going to this domain. And you can go check it out over on Odys. If you join using my affiliate link, you can get $100 into your account, which I definitely appreciate. And I potentially get a commission if you buy anything. You could also sell your domain. So this is something I don't think I get any commission on this. I don't know. You could check the fine print. But basically, if you have an old domain, you can sell it. You can market it over there. So you can take a look. It's over at sell.odys.global. And thanks a lot to Odys. We'll catch you on the next one. All right. And thanks again to Odys. So let's answer some questions and see if people have any. Otherwise, I'll keep talking here. And I do have the side story that I brought it up before. Oh, and Daniel says it wouldn't post the link, and okay, someone sold a site he built using ChatGPT. Okay, cool. Let me check to see if I can see what the chat message was and if we want to link to it specifically. Give me one sec here. And Paula says, don't forget to like this valuable stream. Thank you. Thanks, Paula. Yeah, if you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, and the people that watch the replay, which most people do watch the replay, then you can hit the thumbs up. That is helpful. You can leave a comment. That is fantastic. You don't have to say anything, insightful, or you just say, hey, I watched it. Just tell me where you're from, whatever. You can tell a story, whatever you want to do. You can argue with each other. Nah, don't argue, but you can talk to each other in the chat. That's cool. Leave a comment on someone else's comment. Have a conversation here. So Steve says there are a lot of experts in this area now. Too many. Thanks for being so helpful and straightforward with what you know and what you don't. Great content. Yeah, much appreciated. And the thing is, I was resistant for a long time, years, right? And for the, again, the longtime viewers, I said at least 6 months ago, it could have been like a year or year and a half, someone, and people did this, someone needs to just like create a channel and a blog where you dissect these tools. Jasper, I'm trying to think of other tools, content at scale, outranking, scale nut, there's 50 others, right? Just use the tools, create awesome tutorials, do verses, and there's no doubt in my mind, if you would have been doing that, or if you check people out that are doing that, like, they're riding the wave every time one of these tools comes out, if something big like ChatGPT pops up. So one of the reasons I was inspired to like do content, number one, I actually got interested and I had a ton of ideas, and I have a bunch of post-it notes with just, oh, that's a video idea, that's another video idea. I have so many ideas, new ideas that haven't been done before, right? Or at least I haven't seen them, which is really cool. It's a lot more exciting than looking back and recreating videos that I've done in the past. That's boring. That is a lot more boring. So if I'm able to publish some videos on an interesting topic, and it happens to be what you all want to watch too, that's fantastic. So the people that I started to see were doing okay videos. Some of them were actually not that great. And I was like, oh, luckily I have been doing YouTube for a few years. So like I know what to do and I know what I enjoy creating. So now I'm like, okay, I could pull it together. It's been a little while since I felt like some good inspiration, and like on travel mode, mentioned earlier that I'm converted. Yeah, it took me a little bit, but I knew eventually like the AI would get good enough and I'd be interested to use it. So highly, if you haven't watched the other videos, I highly recommend you check it out, because I'm not just trying to show you how to write long form content. I think that's a kind of a dead end road. It might work in the short term, but it's not going to work long term, I'm afraid. But there's a lot of different ways that you can use the AI tools to help you specifically do other things aside from directly writing. It can help you write. You can do a lot of stuff, but it's very interesting. One side note, I did see a lot, or a couple channels that were relatively new that just blew up because they started publishing. I know they had some experience with YouTube. I could tell by their delivery, their editing, their set, and it happened to hit at the right time. So as I was watching this and coming up with my own ideas, I was like, oh, luckily, I have something original to add to the conversation. So sort of, learning from others, hopefully others will learn from me and we could all, learn from each other. Okay. So let's get a couple more questions in here. So we have Ahmed, what's up? And we have Fred is asking about content at scale. What's my opinion on the price point? So the price point over at content at scale is rather expensive. Let's go check it out. I'm an affiliate over there. So if you sign up, I get a commission. I appreciate it if you do. They do have the free AI detection here, but let's check it out. Do they have the prices listed? Done for you services? I'm not sure. You may have to sign up before you actually see the pricing. But essentially, I think you go to early access. And if you do sign up with my link, you get 20% more content on whatever you choose. And they say they manually update it after you purchase. So I think you have to sign up. I actually don't know the pricing off the top of my head, but the sales point here is you can go to content at scale and you provide a keyword, and then they give you a long form blog post that the selling point is you don't have to edit, you don't have to baby it like you would have to do with ChatGPT or Jasper or any other tool. That's the selling point. As far as the price point, it's more expensive than many of the other tools because you don't have to do the editing step. So it's supposed to be a turnkey situation. So it's expensive and probably comparable to like hiring a writer in some cases, depending on where you're hiring the writer, what they need to know. So it's relatively expensive. And like all tools and agencies, I recommend you test it out. Test a trial job, something small, right? I wouldn't go in and go all in without testing it. Again, tools, agencies, whatever, test whatever it is, take a trial, see if you like it. If you're working with an agency, you can give them feedback and say, I liked working with this writer. The content makes sense. I don't like working with this writer. Can you change these things? I don't like the quality. I don't like the tone, the voice, or whatever. And, provide feedback. With tools, you can see how it works. Check it out for 1 month. See how it goes. I think with content at scale, you're paying on a like per article basis. So Fred, to answer your question, the price point, my opinion is it's kind of expensive, but it's meant to replace a writer and it's meant to not need editing. So, and Stefan, cheers, man. You sent a great email. So I referenced Stefan. I mistakenly called him some other name, Jan, in, in a podcast recently. Apologies for that. But basically, the AI journey has been good. So Stefan sent me some cool ideas how he's been using AI, some different pieces of the puzzle, and part of me exploring it further and trying to come up with some different ideas. I can thank Stefan directly. So basically, it's been good, and I'm figuring out some different ways to use AI. And here's the side story. So I won't go into the full backstory, but I've had interest, weirdly enough, spanning from I think like 2008 to write like a movie script. And I don't know anything about it. I don't consider myself like a writer. I don't consider myself like a fiction writer, and even short story. Like I haven't done any of it. But I had like a couple ideas, and I was like, oh, it'd be fun to do that. And then of course I never did anything with it. I have been hearing that people would get ChatGPT to write like Hallmark movie scripts and stuff, which, funny story, over the past 3 years, 4 years maybe, I slowly became a fan of the very silly Hallmark movie genre. And they're not all made by Hallmark. There's a great one with Lindsay Lohan. It was on Netflix. It's a whole genre now, but basically they're usually set in the holiday season. They're romantic comedies that always work out. Sometimes there's a prince or princess involved, and they're just silly. There's always a misunderstanding. You get the big city, you got small towns, you have simple, small town folks and the business people. They're all ridiculous, right? Sometimes there's something supernatural going on, but not always. But I had an idea for a Hallmark style movie, and I had some themes. I actually collaborated with my two sisters, my wife, and I think like one of my brother-in-laws. So we actually had like a set of characters, a little bit of backstory, a couple plot points, and we were like, okay, we're gonna write this out. And then we didn't. We we just moved on with our lives. But last so happening Saturday night here in dry January for me, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go play with ChatGPT and I'm gonna feed it some of this information. Now I did I had a great conversation with ChatGPT. I was like, can you help me write a movie script? I was trying to figure out the limitations and like what it would need for me or from me to write a script. So there was some back and forth, and it won't write like a full script. And as Brooks mentioned here, like, you know, sometimes ChatGPT is at capacity and it won't provide like the full output, or it'll crash if you're trying to get something really long. So what I did was, similar to how we did this blog post, I got a list of scenes that it recommended. A couple of them were my plot beats, but basically we ended up with like a set of scenes. And then I said, write scene one, write scene two, and so on. So instead of saying, hey, write this whole 90-page script, I just took it one scene at a time. Now we don't have enough scenes. I think once I populated it out, I think we have like 20 to 25 pages, something like that, which is great. It's pretty good. We only had one or two scenes where we had dialogue that we fed in, and that one is the most interesting. It has the most information. So really what I need to do is go back and look at the scenes that it gave us, add a couple more in. Again, I know the beats of a Hallmark style movie, and make sure and make sure that there's enough like interesting plot points. But basically, if you take it piecemeal, it can do it. It'll give you something, and it provided um, the sort of formatting that you need for a script. I'm sure I couldn't, sell it to Disney or anything like that for a number of reasons. But it had like some general formatting for what we're going to do, which is probably nothing except like share it around and like read it, and it'll be kind of funny. But it was cool because you could say, all right, here's this character. Here is some of their characteristics. Here is a little bit of their backstory and some of the interaction that they will have with other characters. And then you're really sort of like building out a story, which is fun. Like I said, I don't have a fiction, I don't have a writing background at all. I don't have any fiction writing either. So it was kind of interesting just to see what it could do. It'll be really funny to see if we provide it with even more plot points and backstory for the characters, like what we'll end up with. And it's totally silly. Now, another thing, and Stefan, one of the emails that, I sent over, and I think maybe you put it in there also, but one thing that I've seen, and I was trying to figure out how to do it, but basically I can, for example, let's say I want to get some help writing an email. I can take a couple of my other emails that I've written personally, say, hey, ChatGPT, take a look at the following text from an email, understand, learn the tone, learn the style, learn about this. And then I could say, write an email in the style of me, Doug, about, whatever 3 points I want to cover. I'm going to edit it, of course, but I could have that written out. Now I probably wouldn't do that because I actually like writing the emails. But what I might do is get a transcript from one of my podcasts and then feed the transcript in and say, write show notes for a podcast. I want it to be 300 words. I want it to be formatted in a short sentence or short paragraph format, and generate it based on the transcript of this podcast. Great, pretty straightforward. Save some time. Sure, I could write it. Sure, my VA could write it, but maybe ChatGPT can do 80% of it, and then we just have to beef it up a little bit. So, and I think, specific sort of like niche use cases will be perfect for a tool like that. In fact, podcasters can save a lot of time. That potentially could be, a very cheap or free type tool that people can use. Like throw in the content, get a summary out the other side. I mean, basically that's what it is. Like summarize this content, write it in podcast show note format. Okay. So jumping back to what Fred mentioned here. So Fred was asking about the price points for content at scale. Fred says if I pay $150 for 1,000 to 1,500 words by a human, it's cheap. So I think I want to go for them. Yeah, and I would say, you have to, look at your specific needs. If it's something general, maybe that's, totally fine. If you need a specialized writer with like knowledge of the niche, then maybe a writer is going to do a much better job than a tool. So it just depends on your specific needs. And I think when I was taking a look at content at scale, I'm pretty sure they mentioned going for, very long tail keywords with very low competition and, ranking that way. I think they have a case that I'm not 100% sure. But side note, here's one thing. So I have been doing shorts also. So if you want to help me out, you can head over to the shorts section of my channel. They're all under a minute. They're short. I'm trying to edit these down. If you're able to, head over there, like each one of them, watch them, leave a comment. It helps out a lot algorithmically. And I'm testing it out. I'm not doing like a huge amount of them, but I'm thinking about it. I've been seeing some, it's people trying to pitch me, which I don't have the budget. I don't have the interest in the budget to hire someone to do shorts. In fact, I got a pitch. They contacted me from my other show, and they were like, "Yeah, I could do shorts for you, and I'm just trying to like grow the business." And I was like, "Okay, how much are they?" And I want to say he was going to do, I could be mixing it up, so I'll give the range. I think it was either 6 or 10 shorts. He was charging, he was like, I want to have a long-term relationship. So I don't do like trials. I only do like monthly or more. So he was like, it's $700 a month for either 6 or 10 videos. I can't remember, but I was like, I mean, you got to make a living, right? You got to do it. But the show, Mile High Fi, I mean, we're a donation model. It's a small show. Like we're bootstrapping it. At that price, I would say you probably need to be pulling in like 5 figures a month. So I know people are just sending out cold emails. The point being, some of the case studies that I've seen cited, they were for big shows, so I don't think it translates well, but they were like, yeah, we're doing, I think one of them was like 100 shorts per day. And I mean, they were getting a ton of views, and like a handful of them would go viral, and they would get tens of thousands of views on, a short, but they were, you know, I think they did 100 a day for, I don't know, 10 days, a month. I'm not sure, but you get a lot of reps in, get a lot of at bats. Like you actually can make it work. So I have been doing some of those shorts, and if you want to help me out, you can check out some of those videos. All right. I think I was going to show everyone something, but I forgot what I was talking about. It was another one of the tools. What was I talking about, guys and gals? As we're coming towards the end here, it was something I was going to show you, something valid. YouTube Shorts. I was talking about YouTube Shorts. I thought there was something else. Thanks, Fred. You are on top of it, though. And Fred says, I have tons of Reels content that I want to move over to YouTube. So one of the reasons why I am spending time on shorts now, is there was a clear path to get people from shorts to watch my normal YouTube videos. With Instagram or TikTok, it's like their own ecosystem. The platforms don't want people to move. They want you to stay on those platforms. YouTube shorts and YouTube videos, those work. And I know I have a lot of videos, so if I can get people like watching a couple, they may check out the channel. They may watch the longer ones. But it has been, a shift again. Just in the last couple weeks, I was like, oh, okay, like I can do this. I didn't feel the drive to do it. Again, if I was regurgitating my other content, my other videos, but it kind of makes sense now. And Fred, I appreciate it. Anyone who goes over and like leaves a comment, I am trying to be active, especially on the shorts side of it, just because I do want a few of those to pop. And I'm testing it. Some of them are going to be horrible and not get many views. And I see that. I see handful of views and then it never really takes off. And, as I'm flipping through and I'm watching people do their shorts, I'm like, oh, I wonder how this one showed up. And I'll check and see how many they have out there. And I'm like, oh, cool. They're just testing it out too. Every now and then one goes viral. A lot of them are fine, but every now and then one of them really takes off. So cool. Not too many questions today. Please check out the sponsors. They make these live streams possible. So we got Ezoic, we have Odys Global, and certainly check out Odys. They have a lot of domains available over there. There's a great searching mechanism. So if you're interested in a specific niche, then you could search for that directly. You can look for specific metrics. You can, filter on price range depending on what your budget is and all that kind of stuff. So it's very cool. And who knows what else I was talking about, but I appreciate everyone hopping on. If you want to be notified for these live streams, you can sign up in the description. There's a specific tag, right, that I put on your email address if you do sign up. So you can sign up there, just name an email. I send it out like an hour or so before, probably 90% of the time. Occasionally I get too busy, but I've been doing a better job. So I just say, hey, I'm going live. I'm going to talk about this just so you get a heads up. A lot of times YouTube doesn't notify people in time. So the email gets ahead a little bit more. Okay. Steve says this. Hold on. Steve says, do you see the YouTube shorts driving traffic to other videos that you have produced? So, great question. You know what? Let me check. The problem is, well, I'm not sure. I need to check if I can find the source for a specific video. So I've done a few videos on ChatGPT and a few shorts, and a couple of the shorts did turn out pretty well. So let me double check, and I'm going to go to the ChatGPT for blogging and check out the analytics here. So that would be, Steve, you got the point here. I need to check to see where the traffic came from, but that would be the general idea, right? So YouTube analytics, they're pretty good. They tell you a lot of information, and you can see like, oh, this video is doing well. It's getting more new subscribers. There are, non-subscribers watching the video. So you can sort of tell what's going on. And let me see how viewers found the video. So the thing that makes it a little bit hard, and I'll try to see if there's like a direct link. Okay, so I'm not sure. I won't be able to find it easily. The theory, right? And YouTube should do a pretty good job. So if someone does watch one of the shorts, which the good part with shorts is it's mostly shown to people that don't know about your brand yet. So one of the issues, this is deep in the weeds of my YouTube journey here. For the last couple of years, I've basically been producing content for the existing audience and community. And it's been long form interviews and live streams. If you look back, you'll see most of my videos over the past year are like an hour long or more. Very few short form videos, very few under 10 minutes. So with the shorts, those videos are going in front of something between like 80 and 95% non-subscribers, people that have never seen the channel before. That's great. So hopefully if they see like one or two of the shorts, then when they watch their normal YouTube videos, maybe some of my longer videos in that topic area will grab their attention and they'll check out the other stuff. So the algorithm should work that way. And from a, my own viewing standpoint, that is what has happened. So I watch a lot of like food videos and stuff. Those are pretty fun. I like to eat, think about food all the time. So I will watch a handful of shorts from, someone who does grill videos, right? Then in my normal YouTube suggested video feed, my homepage, I'll see videos from those creators. So that is what should happen. And it'll be through, me putting in the reps, publishing the video, like just the same stuff. If you're starting a blog, if you're doing a podcast, you're doing videos, you're doing shorts, you're doing reels, whatever, you gotta put in the reps. It's gonna feel like not much is going on. And then hopefully I'll slowly get better. And then certain things will get traction. Hopefully that'll align with my interest, right? The downside with YouTube and other tools where you get, or other platforms where you have a lot of tools and you have a lot of analytics and metrics. Let's say one of my shorts does phenomenally well, but it happens to be something that I don't want to create videos on and I don't really care about. It would be really dumb for me to chase that. Luckily, I'm in a spot where like I know that I shouldn't do that, but it's really easy to do if you're like, oh man, if I just do more of these videos about the topic that I hate, I'll get more views, more subscribers, and things will grow. You could end up in a situation where you're catering to the algorithm and the analytics and building something that you don't even want to participate in. So I know myself and I know like what I'm interested in. But anyway, yeah, great question. That's something to chase down. The metrics are really good. It may be hard to see that connect. That said, Steve, I know that some people with videos that go viral. So let's say I create 50 videos. I kind of get the hang of it. I do 50 shorts rather. And then let's say in the next 50, I'm aiming for 100 or whatever, then one of those goes viral and gets a lot of views. Sometimes, let's say a few 100,000 people watch one of the shorts. A handful of those people are going to check out my other shorts and then they'll watch through a bunch of them. So that sort of like feeding will happen and then other people will check out longer form videos. Okay, great. Marky says, what's the best way to contact me? Email. I think there's a link in the description. It's just doug@nichesiteproject.com. But there are many links in the description back to the blog so that you can check out how to get to me. And Steve says, yeah, so yeah, we'll follow up. It'll be something that I look at and I go deeper in my podcast. So like if you check out one of the recent episodes, I'm like, hey, here's what's going on. I'm interested in this stuff. You could check those out. I think maybe it's scheduled for Thursday, but check out the podcast. I do some other stuff there. And Steve, it would be great if you did research, and you'll be happy to share what you find, which would be great. So I think with that, I'll sign off here. Thanks everyone for hopping on. Appreciate it. And we'll catch you next week. Have a great rest of your week. And let me know if you do anything cool.